Hi, I'm Toyin Udutola, and I put this presentation together to show you how to write your first research paper. And after this presentation, I'll be showing you my very first research paper. So don't worry, all the fears you have, I had them before. But once you start, nothing can stop you. You keep going on and you keep getting better. So this will show you how to draft your first research paper, and then you learn from your experiences and from the reviews you'll be getting from the reviewers that you're submitting your papers to. So introduction. What is a research paper? A research paper is an extended essay that presents your own analysis, interpretation, and evaluation about a specific topic. So for you to write a research paper, you would have done some form of analysis, research, some form of research, and you got some results from your research and you analyzed your results, so you have your own ideas, you have your own analysis, you have your own evaluation about a specific topic. So putting that paper together and getting it published, that is called a research paper. There are some research papers that are purely reviews, where you review a particular topic, you review um you review what other authors have done on that particular research topic. So those are called review papers. They are also journal papers, they are also research papers. But in this particular presentation, we'll be looking at those kind of researches that you did in your undergraduate project or your MSc project or your PhD thesis, and how you can draft out research papers from them. So when writing an essay, that's a research paper, you draw on all your own experience and knowledge on the topic. So it's you presenting your idea about a topic. While you were doing your project work, you probably did some literature review and you saw other people's idea about that topic, but you have conducted your own research, you've done your method, and you've also analyzed your results. So now you're presenting your own knowledge, your own experience from your project, from the experiment you conducted, from the simulation you conducted. You're presenting your own experience about that topic. So your research paper can be written from your project. So the project that you have done, your PhD thesis, your MSc thesis, your undergraduate project, you can write research papers from them. Actually, if it's PhD, you can write several research papers from your project. And basically, most times we even say you can actually write based on the objectives, based on the objectives you set. But let's leave that for another video. But in this video, we'll just show you how you can I'll show you how to draft your research paper. You may also conduct research on a topic of interest. It doesn't have to be your project, your PhD or MSc or BSc project. You might have something you're interested in that you conduct a research on. You might just want to conduct a research on how birds fly, maybe the aerodynamics around their wings and everything. And you do your thorough research. It's totally not related to your project. And then you write a research paper on it. Or your research paper can be about an experience. So I'll also be sharing with you a research paper I wrote based on my teaching experience after COVID, my teaching experience post-COVID. So when COVID happened, I had to teach online. I saw the resistance of the students. I documented everything, how I was able to convince them that learning online was better. I documented everything. The survey forms I had to send to them repeatedly were all documented, and I put them in a research paper. I remember Professor Ajinka, when he saw the paper online, he called me, said to him that was a very good paper. So you can actually write your experience about, you can write about your experience in a research paper. So having known what research paper is, I'm going to be telling you now about the types of research paper. Now there's the conference paper, and the conference paper is a text of a paper or presentation given at conferences, seminars, symposium, or similar events, which has been organized by a society or an organization. So for conference papers, you must submit a PowerPoint presentation. So some conferences will ask you only for your abstract, and they will have a book of abstracts. But during the conference, you will come physically, or even if it's virtual, you'll be there virtual, you join virtually, and you must present your research to the conference attendees, and then the attendees will ask you questions, and you need to respond to those questions. So that's for conference papers. Now, for us in the petroleum and gas engineering area, there are a couple of conferences. There's a major conference that we love attending here in Nigeria, and that is the SPE annual conference, the Nigerian annual, I can't remember the full meaning, but it's NICE, and it's the SPE annual conference, always holding in the first week in August. Now, there are several other SPE conferences. There's the offshore conference, there's the oilfield chemical conference, and a couple of other conferences organized by SPE. So for those kind of conferences, for SPE conference, you usually submit an abstract. If your abstract is accepted, then you'll be told to put the full paper together and submit the full paper and then when your full paper is accepted, you'll also be told to prepare your presentation and attend the conference to present. So that's for conference paper. But for journal papers are scholarly publication containing articles written by researchers, professors, and other experts. Journals focus on a specific discipline or field of study. Now, for journal papers, you don't need to appear physically to present your research. So most times you would have to select a journal that is based on the research you conducted. Towards the end of this video, I'll show you how to find a journal for your publication, okay, with some specific publishers, but there are several publishers out there you can search and get good journals that will publish your work. Now, you submit your full work, which includes your abstract and everything, to that particular journal. The editor looks at it, sends it to reviewers, and the reviewers, maybe 2 or 3 reviewers, will make comments on how you can make the work better, or if they feel the work is not good enough for the journal, we'll recommend that the work be turned down. Or if they feel the work can be reviewed and made better, they'll suggest to you, the author, what they think you should review, and you'd have to review it before the work is published. At times, you get to review more than once. They send it back and forth for more review, and they just help you to make the work better. Here are the parts of a research paper. Your research paper must have a title, which is the research itself. What's the research about? You should also have an abstract, and I would also show you how to put your abstract together. And your research paper should have keywords. These are keywords that if your research is being searched, if someone is searching for your research online, those keywords can drag your the search engine to your research. For instance, if your research is about hydrates should be part of your keywords. If you did some work with machine learning should be part of your keywords. So that is how it should be. Then for introduction, you can have the topic introduction. This is where the main write-up starts. You'd have a background of the study, but you're not going to write it there as background of the study. It's going to be embedded in your introduction. Your statement of problem you're trying to solve with this research will be embedded in the introduction. The objective of this study, of your study, will be embedded in the introduction, and your literature review as well will be embedded in the introduction. So your introduction is going to be having all these 4 components embedded inside. It's not like you're going to divide it. Just look for a way of embedding it. Yeah. So I'll show you some examples, and then you can also read some of my papers. You can find my papers on ResearchGate. When you read them, you will have a better understanding of what I mean by embedding these 4 things in the introduction. So after the introduction, what we'd like to see is your method. How did you solve this problem? The problem you had introduced, and in your in your introduction, when you're looking at literature review, you're actually doing more of an empirical review. You're talking about what people have done in the past and where they stopped and why you are trying to, or why you're proposing this method as a better way of, or as a new way of solving the problem. So in methodology, you talk about the method that you applied in solving the problem, then you present your results. As you put your figure, you write, you describe the trend in your result, in your figure, and then you try to interpret the result. Why is this happening? So that is what your results will look like. And then you conclude based on the results that you have analyzed, and your references will be the last part. Now, I should talk about citation because in paper writing, there are different kinds of citation. There's the author-A citation, which I had already shown you in my previous video. And in the author-A citation, I talked about how you can do it. So maybe you can refer to that video to see how to do the author-A citation. So some papers are okay with you doing the author-A citation where you put the author's name and the date, you know, when citing. But then there are some other papers that will tell you to use the number citation. In the number citation, a number is allocated to a source in the order in which it is cited in the text. So the first paper cited in the text will be 1, and in your list of references, that will be number 1. The second paper will be number 2, and your list of references, that will be number 2. So, and if you refer to that paper again in the body of the text, you will still have to use the number that you have assigned to it. So if paper 1 was used maybe in the first paragraph of the introduction, and then you want to use it again in the 5th paragraph of the introduction, you still have to use the citation number 1. And then the numbers that are usually used are Arabic numerals, not Roman numerals. And you put them in this square bracket here. Other times, you can also use superscripts as shown here. So here are some additional tips. When you're selecting journals, select journals that are relevant to your research. And journal format can be found in Journal Author's Guide. Most times the journals will have a page that you can click on and you see Author's Guide, where they tell you the format. In that particular Author's Guide, they will tell you how they want the citation to look like and how they want the referencing to look like. Some of them go as much as telling you about the text size and all of that. But then there are some that are not that specific. When they receive your paper, they put it in their format by themselves. So you can use Journal Finder, your desired publisher, to find the appropriate journal to publish your article. For instance, if I want to publish my work in Elsevier, if that's my desired publisher, Elsevier has a lot of journals. So I can use the Journal Finder to find the Elsevier Journal Finder to find an appropriate journal for my publication by pasting my abstract there, and it's going to suggest some journals I can submit to. So that's about it. So now I'll show you how the other things can be done, like how your abstract can be done. I'll show you my first paper. I'll show you other papers that I have written, and just some examples to help you understand the points that I raised in the presentation. This is how to write your abstract, and this is from SB International, and I think this method is a very good method. So you can use this to build your abstract for any paper at all, whether it's a conference paper or a journal paper. So you need to think about your objectives and list the objectives and scope of the proposed paper in 25 to 75 words. You know, most times the abstract is less than 300 words. So you have your objectives and scope in about 75 words here. Then you talk about the method, procedure, and process in 75 to 100 words. Okay, so you put it here. And then you can now talk about your observation, your results, and your conclusion. You put all of those in 100 to 200 words here. And then the last part of your abstract will be how this paper is novel. What is new about this paper? Or additive information to the existing body of literature that can be of benefit to a practicing engineer. So what's the significance of this research? You put that together in 25 to 75 words as shown here. So when you have all these 4 segments, you merge them together as a single paragraph. That is your abstract. You're not going to submit it in little bits like this. You merge everything together as a single paragraph. So that makes your abstract, except you're told otherwise to put them in this form, maybe in a particular journal or particular conference. But this guide will help you to build your abstract easily. So you put all these different segments together and you put them separately initially and then merge them to a single paragraph, and that makes your abstract. So I start by showing you my first research paper. This paper was my MSc project, and I was supervised by Professor Appa in African University of Science and Technology in Abuja. So of course I had fears, but I just had to write something, and this is what I wrote. And you see the title here. This was a conference paper, so it was presented at the Nigerian Annual International Conference exhibition held in Lagos. So that's the name of the conference I was trying to recall, which I call SPE conference, okay? And it was, it held on the 5th to 7th of August, 2014. I had to go physically to attend the conference, and I presented this. So I don't think SPE papers ask for keywords, so we can't find any keyword here, but this is the abstract. And going forward is the background to the study or study background. And you can see I'm writing a little about what the problem is. And then I started citing others that have done some work. This is still part of the introduction. I'm talking about the chemical control that is being done. Then this is more like the methodology. I'm looking at concept development here and how I did the research. It was more like a simulation. I did an Excel sheet to see the effect of ionic inhibitors on hydrate formation. So I have all these my correlations, which I loaded into the Excel sheet. And these are some of the charts I got for my research. And after pasting the charts, I think I discussed the chart before they were pasted. So you can see me referring to them here, figure 1, figure 2, figure 2. Okay, so, and figure 3 also referred to here. And then I concluded, and here are the references. Now, this particular paper, the reference style was the author year reference style. And here is the appendix showing the Excel sheet which I built for this. This is just showing what the Excel sheet looks like and my input data. And that's it. So I talked about how one of my papers was not a pure research. It was more about my experience when I taught after COVID, immediately after COVID. And this is that paper. I wrote the application of blended learning in teaching petroleum production engineering course in the University of Port Harcourt. This was my experience with some postgraduate diploma students. So I have in this paper an abstract which shows all I did. The abstract is like a abridged form of the paper. So it gives you an idea of what you'll be reading in the paper. And here's the paper. So this is a journal paper. You can see the journal name. I'm the author, and I've written here the abstract. Here, keywords are requested for. So I have written here the keywords: blended learning, online learning, inclusive teaching, student-centered learning, educational technology. These are my keywords. I think they requested for 5 keywords. And here's the introduction. You can see the citation is the number type. So I have to, this is my first citation. So this number 1 will be the first paper in the references. Number 4 here is the first paper in the list of references. So I have this chart which I got from worldometer.info, and I'm describing, in my introduction, I'm describing the different, I have some literature review in it. I've talked about the problem that I faced, how COVID obstructed learning, especially in developing countries. They couldn't transition smoothly into virtual learning, so, and how we're also trying to get back to our classrooms or teach virtually. So I put all of those in as the background of study, and then the kind of problems people face in online learning, especially when they are learning engineering courses that is very mathematical. So all those were there were some citations about people that have written such papers, and so I wrote all of those there. And then number 2, I wrote about online teaching and learning. And here I'm just basically talking about what online teaching and learning is. So this is not like kind of paper that has results and all of that. It wasn't like a lab research or a simulation. So I think I'm talking about the benefits of online learning here. And then I'm talking about here I talked about the case study of applying blended learning, which has to do with online and physical in the University of Port Harcourt in teaching petroleum production. And I have here some figures that I got for my class. It was when I did a survey on their preferred mode of learning, and how survey on social media used to assess how much time they spend online. And when we did a mid-semester survey on the effectiveness of the online learning, and I concluded here. And you can see the list of references having numbers. So the numbers will be like number 1 here will be that first reference we saw. Number 4 will be the 4th reference we saw. And yes, so this is the paper that was more of something, my experience that I put together as a research paper. So here I'm sharing with you a paper I did with a student of mine, just to show you that you don't have to do any serious formatting when you are sending your paper to the publisher. Eventually, they will do the formatting for you, or when they will actually, some of them specify that you put it in a particular format, but when they do not specify, you send it that way and they will do the formatting for you. So it's actually an SP paper, but it was presented in the Artificial Intelligence Symposium that held in Saudi Arabia. And they actually asked for keywords. So that's why we have keywords here: machine learning, flow assurance, hydrate inhibition, kinetic hydrate inhibitor. And so we have our abstract here, the introduction, which encompasses those 4 points I told you about. And then this is the part of the introduction, the method and procedure, which we are putting down here, how this was done. And eventually we have results and discussion. So we dump our figures and we discuss the figures. And then we have the more discussion, and then we have conclusion and references. So the references here is the author year method. So I'm going to show you what this paper now looks like, the final form of this paper here. So the paper I just showed you, this is how it is now on ResearchGate. This is how it was published. So you see the author's name. The SP eventually put it in their template. At times they send you the template and they ask you to put it in the template. So this is what it's looking like. But the first thing you need to do is create your Word document and send to your publisher first so that you're advised on how best to arrange your work. So this is what it now looks like. This is the final output after it was published. So stop being scared, send something first and see how it goes. Okay. Then finally, I think I will be showing you how to search for a journal. Okay, so let's look at this place here. Okay, I've done one here before. Let me go back. Now you can go to this site if you're trying to publish in an Elsevier journal. You go to journalfinder.elsevier.com. Now I'm going to pick my abstract from the paper I published here. But mind you, once you have published a paper, you are not allowed to publish it again in another with another publisher. But this is just for the purpose of demonstration. So I've copied the abstract. I'm trying to find the right Elsevier journal for that paper. So I'm going to put my abstract here and click on Find Journal. So it's showing 35 journals matching my paper. The first journal here is Petroleum and is open access. There's no publication fee. It's free of charge. And then there's another one here, open access, but there's article publication fee of $2,600, $660. There's applied energy, is the open access fee. So you view details and you get more list of journals that you can publish on. You can publish in, but this work has already been published. So when you put your own article together, you can use this journal finder to find an appropriate journal for your article. I'll be leaving the ResearchGate link, I think, in the description of this video so that you can easily go to the ResearchGate and pick out some of my papers, read through them to help you know how to draft the paper. And good luck with drafting your very first paper. And if you're not sure if this video, if there are still areas that you need clarification on, you can send me an email. I'll be glad to respond. And if it's something I have to put another video together for, I'll do that so that you can start publishing.